Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 2 of A Week Around the Nest. We're your hosts. I'm Sam Montag, joined alongside Daniel Botolino.
The Hawks have been hot on the road to begin the 2025 season with a record of 5-0-1 away from McKeon Park.
That's right, the Hawks have been aggressive and electric, specifically in that first inning.
And they've been able to use those first innings to propel their way into an early lead and continue to score runs with their powerful offense early in this season.
That's right. One player that has really been on top of his game all season long has been Ryan McKay. The second baseman temporarily led the league in average, also currently has a 15-game on-base streak going, and finally has been putting on a clinic at second base. Graham Nash has more in our next segment, A Hawks View.
Graham Nash catching up with Ryan McKay before the Brewster game here at Diamondside. Ryan, back-to-back games of multi-hit performances. What do you feel like has been working so well for you in your approach recently?
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep my swing simple. You know, guys throw fast here, guys have good pitches, so I'm just trying to keep it as simple as I can, and as long as I put bat to ball and find barrels, good things will happen.
This entire team in general has done really, really well in the first inning, specifically these past couple of games. How have you guys been able to get to the starting pitcher so quickly out of the gate?
Yeah, I think we just bring a lot of energy in the dugout, and then as soon as that, you know, when even coming out on deck, you feel that energy, and when you're up to play, you're super amped, and I think that's what helps a lot.
You guys have gotten so close so quickly, it seems. How have you been able to do that?
I mean, we're all over the country. We all know we all, you know, very similar goals, so I think that's what helps us bond.
Last question for you. You told me a couple days ago that the puck that you were using on the bottom of your bat fell off. You said you took it as God's sign. You needed to abandon it. Feel like a good choice at this point?
It's a great choice, so I thank the man above for that.
There you go. Thanks so much, Ryan.
Thank you.
Guys?
Thanks, Graham. The Hawks continue that aggressive mentality in that first inning, and it's really shown throughout their offense all year.
And the team has really started to find leaders both on the field and on the bench.
That's right. It's those leaders that will bring us straight into our next segment, where our own Giovanni Collada caught up with bench coach Rich Cogliano in Catching Up with Cogliano.
Thank you, Sam. Giovanni Collada here with a weekly spot with bench coach Rich Cogliano. It is sweltering hot today, Coach, as Hyannis prepares to play Brewster here at McKeon Park. The Cape Cod Baseball League season, 40 games, it's typically stretched into 10-game checkpoints where you assess where the team is at right now. As we hit the 10-game mark today, Coach, what are you looking for at the first checkpoint of the season?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, we have the best offense in the league. We're playing a team over here at Brewster that started off pretty hot. We owe them one. So we'll see where we're at tonight, I think. I think if we can pull this one out, then I'd have to say we're probably the best team in this league right now.
What have been some of the fuels, in your opinion, that have made you the best team in the league?
It hasn't been infield defense, because that's been, but we're getting better. But obviously our bats, we have the most runs scored, and our pitching has been very good. Now we'll get some turnover coming up this week, so we'll see how that goes. But I think all-around defense and the bats have been, and hey Chuck, the bullpen's been great.
And one of the major checkpoints at this point in the season, Coach,
I want to say it's not Mitch.
Oh, it's not Coach Carricker.
No, it's not at all. As a matter of fact, I'm disappointed in him this year, and I'm not afraid to say it. Mitch has been, first of all, the pitchers were all doing hacky sack, and he went, and I thought he was going to go interrupt it, and they, you know how pitchers are when you interrupt a hacky, so you can't do it. So I said, Mitch, don't interrupt the hacky, and then he had to go to the bathroom, so that worked out.
And why do you not interrupt the pitcher's hacky sack before you continue?
Pitchers are very superstitious creatures, and if you mess up their hacky sack thing, which they really like to do, you know, I think it affects them for like a week.
Don't go near the pitchers and their hacky sacks, folks. And back to the checkpoint, though.
Another thing I wanted to tell you is my wife makes, and I mentioned this last year, my wife makes unbelievable Italian food. Meatballs, anything you want, pasta fagioli, anything you want, my wife makes it very, very well. And most of the kids we had last year that went to the All-Star game, it was because of that, her cooking.
Naturally, of course. And who of these players in this year's team has stepped up as a leader for you so far?
I'd say it's pretty even across the board, but Ryan McKay, I think, has really been steady. Ray Velasquez, a couple other pitchers, but Yeah, and I guess first and foremost is Brody Briggs. I mean, I love the way he plays the game. I love his attitude. I really think if we were going to have a captain, I'd have to say he'd be one of them.
What are some of the things that Brody and the rest of those leaders do that exemplify them on this team?
Well, he's a leader, and he leads by example. He talks to his teammates. He encourages his teammates. He's not afraid to complain a little bit to the other team and maybe the other umpire, which we try to control. But his leadership ability, I've noticed, and he plays the game hard, and so he leads by example.
And with the turnover coming up, as you mentioned, Coach, how do you maintain that leadership with guys that may not always be here?
Well, you have to do the same thing, right? So it's not going to be as bad as it was last year, but the kids in and out, like I said before, the kids coming that are coming a little bit late, we're probably in the Super Regionals or the World Series, and again, you have to keep them in check. But someone will rise to the top. Cream always does, and last year it was Caden Kepley that really led by example, Mikey DiTalo. I'm confident that will happen. But before you ask me another question, let me explain to you what a bench coach does. All right, I'm a bench coach. My responsibility is generally the well-being of the team on the bench, how they act, their decorum. So I'm responsible. And let me tell you something else. When there's a big decision to be made on this team, it's not Mitch, it's not Sean, it's not Rick, it's me. So always give me credit.
Absolutely, Coach, and we will give you credit for the incredible Italian food. What is your favorite thing that your wife makes to eat before a game?
Probably brajol.
And what do you have that with?
Brajol with anything ziti, bread. She stuffs it with eggs, provolone generally, some prosciutto, and it's pretty good.
It sounds fantastic. You get some eggs in there. Bench coach Rich Cogliano, thank you so much, Coach.
Thanks for your time. Good luck.
Back to you, Sam.
Thanks, Gio. We really appreciate Coach Cogliano taking the time to talk with us, and personally, I really want to try some of that food that he's raving about.
Absolutely. From players making excellent plays on the field to leaders in the clubhouse, the Hard Rocks have really been coming together and putting up highlights all over the field this season.
That's exactly right, but we've taken a few of those plays to highlight here in our show as we toss it down to Giovanni Collada and Graham Nash in Best of the Nest. Welcome back to Best of the Nest. Graham Nash and Giovanni Collada with you for a second edition of this show. It was a phenomenal week all around the ball for Hyannis, but a lot of defensive plays that we want to highlight. We are going to start, though, Gio, with the offensive.
And we're going to start with the long ball, Graham. Chris Rembert had himself a weekend at the beginning of this past week. Let's take a look. So Chris Rembert to the plate, bottom one, just a man on, still no score. He's going to change that right away, Graham. How about this ball? Travels over the left center field wall, and that is the quickest start possible for Rembert, who was coming off a huge day, a 4-for-4 performance at home, but he wasn't done, Graham, later in the bottom of the eighth. This one just a solo shot, but he rips it. A treat for the Katuitt bullpen. That was a frozen rope, and Rembert comes off a remarkable weekend. He's now with Team USA, but this is a great way for him to go down to carry North Carolina. And how about the line for Chris Rembert across those 2 days to begin the week, Graham? He goes 4-for-4 with a walk in the win over Wareham on Friday. Just 2-for-4 against Katuitt. But those two, a couple of home runs you just saw.
And now we want to go to the other side of the ball, to the defense of Hyannis, which was remarkable. We're going to go to their game on the road at Falmouth. Take a look at a pretty acrobatic catch from one Hayden Federico. Hyannis led by 3, bottom of the 9th, 2 men on, 2 strikes to the batter, and he lifts one to left field. Federico, a nice slide. Oof, looks like he's on a little slip and slide out there. A little summer action. Hayden Federico with a razzle-dazzle catch to end the game. But that's not the only defensive highlight that we want to mention in this show. There was another phenomenal one, Gio.
Jake Schaffner might have left the game against Falmouth after being hit by a pitch, but before he unfortunately had to leave, Graham, he did make a highlight reel catch in the hot corner. Let's see it. So Hyannis has got that 2-0 lead. First batter of the third, and oh, look at Schaffner. Climbed the ladder. Future North Carolina Tar Heel got up for that one. And that is a quick first out in the third inning. And how about a couple of stellar defensive plays in the same game? Sure was a fun one at Guff Fuller Field.
It really was. That's going to wrap it up for this week's Best of the Nest, Graham Nash and Giovanni Collada. If you want to vote on which plays you thought were the best, go ahead and tweet at us at Harbor Hawks, and we'll tally up which play was the best of the week. Now, we'll send it back to the guys at the desk.
Thanks, guys. Pitching has been outstanding for the Harbor Hawks as well this season.
That's right. The pitching continues to shine for Coach Carricker as the team has posted astounding strikeout numbers and is really keeping that ERA low.
Both the starters and the bullpen have came through in clutch situations to keep the Harbor Hawks in it and get some key wins.
Pitchers like Ryan Speciok have shined through in really clutch moments, and no moment appears to be too big for this Harbor Hawks team.
Our own Max Schwartzberg has more on the pitching.
Well, through 11 games, Mitch Carricker's squad has been electrifying, specifically on the mound. The Harbor Hawks are second in the Cape League with 119 strikeouts. They post a 10.7 team strikeouts per 9, and of course headlined by Ryan Speciok at 12.8. The swing and miss stuff is there. They've been so fun to watch out on the hill.
Thanks, Max. The pitching for the Harbor Hawks has really shined through, and the depth has been evident early as we're entering the dog days of the season.
It's not just the pitching shining. The Hyannis community has really impressed early on in this 2025 season.
Yep, the community has really come together for this Harbor Hawks team, and it's beyond impressive every night to see packed houses here at McKeon Park.
We are so grateful for the support and the encouragement of this community.
Well, that'll do it for this week's episode of A Week Around the Nest.
The Hawks are back in action this week. Look at continue their winning ways.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Sam Montag, joined alongside Daniel Botolino, and we'll see you next week.